Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of In the Mix. That is Adis Kucukovic. I am Jay Boyal, and we got a dose of a couple Game 7s last night. It was a hectic night of hockey. The Raptors eliminated the Orlando Magic, and the Leafs, man.
Kicked out of the playoffs.
Leafs.
By the same team 6 consecutive years. We've lost their Boston Bruins.
What are you talking about, 6 consecutive years?
In the playoffs.
No.
6 consecutive series.
Oh, that we've played them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought you meant like the last 6 years.
No.
I was like, who am I hosting with?
But 6 consecutive times that we've been in a series with Boston, we lose.
You know what? It's
The Boston curse.
It's the kryptonite, and we all thought this year was gonna be different, and it was no different. We actually were the better team from games 1 to 5. Game 6, they took it to us in our own building, and then Game 7, I'm assuming everybody pretty much in the country, whether you hate the Leafs or you like the Leafs or you just like hockey, watch that game, and they saw that the Leafs were chasing from essentially end of the first period, the rest of the game.
What was wrong with them? Like, what went wrong in that game for them to lose? Because I missed it.
You had defensive lapses and soft goaltending. The first goal was a big cluster fuck.
But 5-1?
Well, a couple empty netters.
Yeah, but still, 5-1?
So
That's not even a contest.
it's funny to me.
That's not even a game.
It's funny to me. You saw Morgan Riley in the post game when they brought up Jake Gardner. He said something along the lines of, "We don't care. You guys will say what you want. He's fucking good." That's quote. And we want him back here next year. And he's a free agent. We all know last year was a -5 in Game 7 against Boston. A lot of fans wanted him out of here. I was one. And coming into this season, played better throughout the season. Injured, comes back just before playoffs. You know what his plus-minus was last night, Addis?
What was his plus-minus?
-3. So he's on for all goals against once again.
What's his plus-minus throughout the series, though?
I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
No.
But probably decent. And Game 7, he falls apart. And the second goal, he tries a reverse play, going from behind the net, leaves it to nobody but 3 Bruins on the side he reversed it to. And Johansson tucks it in. First goal, Dermott at a miscue. Tries going with the lob saucer pass up the slot. Picked off. Little scramble in front. Weak goal let in by Freddie. Now you're down 2-0.
So you're putting the blame on this guy?
No, I'm saying he was part of the problem. Travis Dermott's mistake. Freddie Anderson got outplayed for the second straight year in Game 7. And Mike Babcock's questionable decisions throughout the series, and especially Game 7 yesterday. What I've seen a lot of people focus on, and I couldn't agree more, is coming into that game, you said Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, they all got to play 20 minutes minimum. This is your do-or-die game. Unless you're winning up big, there's nothing to hold these guys back for. You're down the whole game. Austin Matthews is your best scorer, one of the top 10, top 5 goal scorers in the league. And he plays shy of 19 minutes. Are you kidding me? In the third period, John Tavares played 9 minutes of his 21, which is great. But why is Matthews not at 8-9 minutes? He played 6 and change. In that third period, when you're down, your top 2 guys got to be going back-to-back shifts, every other shift. Tavares to Matthews, Tavares to Matthews. Why is Freddie the GOAT going out there? Why is Nylander going out there? He's been totally ineffective the last 3-4 games. He had 1 or 2 good games with no even points to show for it.
So how big of a negative was Babcock for this series?
It's not his fault, but he was unreluctant. Last episode we talked about, just do something to get Boston off their game.
Yeah, you did.
Switch your lineups.
Something new.
Want to see something different, and he refused to the whole game, and they were losing the whole game. And after the game, says, "Oh, I like the way we played." I don't give a damn the way you played. End of the day, you lost in the first round for the third straight year. Yeah, he said, "I like the way that we played."
Where does that come from?
How can you like the way you played when you lost?
5-1.
He just always deflects everything. And what was really funny to me is when he pulled the goalie, Patrick Marleau was on the ice with a little under 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
And then Morgan Riley gives a suspect pass to William Nylander. Nylander tries toe dragging the zone. They pot the empty netter. So Steve Simmons, questionable reporter, in terms of his ethics, asks Babcock simply after the game, when you pull your goalie, why was Patrick Marleau out on the ice? And he just defends his position again. Says, we had one group out prior. He was part of the second group. We feel Patrick Marleau should be out there. Patrick Marleau is the worst player on that team next to Connor Brown and Freddie Gauthier. there's no reason for him to be out there. He cannot make any passes, can't shot, can't skate out of his own end. He's a guy who should have retired last year. And now we're paying this guy $6 million to come back again next year. Lou Lamoriello screwed us in this sense. He's a good general manager, but the reason Patrick Marleau signed with us is we're the only team that wanted to give him that third year, right? Well, this shows why nobody wanted to give him a third year. Because he played so bad this year, had less than 20 goals, and now we have him for another year. Nobody should have even given him 2 years. He should have retired after last season. But he gets along with the boys, so they don't want to trade him. They don't want to get rid of him. It's gonna be
you gotta build a relationship like that.
But now it's gonna be so hard to improve upon this team in the offseason. You have to re-sign Mitch Marner. His contract's up. He's gonna come in around 9 to 11 million. Gardner's gone because he's gonna command probably 4 to 6 on the market. I don't think the total 6 as everybody thought before. And your Patrick Marleau's still there at 6 million, playing third, fourth line. It's atrocious.
So, where do Leafs go from here?
I don't think you fire Mike Babcock. People are calling for it.
You see him in the same position next year?
I think they have to improve the defense. Everybody said, will the defense be good enough to hold up? There's a lot of comparisons to Pittsburgh when they won in 2016 and 2017 because they had a subpar defense and a great forward group. And they just chipped the puck off the glass, got up to the forwards, away the forwards went. But those forwards were Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Phil Kessel, more proven guys. And you have Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Kapanen, Janssen. None of these guys have ever won a playoff series. So it's totally different, right? You have a subpar defense and you want them to rely on the forwards. But the forwards have never done it either. And, hey, Kyle Dubas went out. He got Jake Muzzin before the trade deadline, improved the defense. You knew it wasn't going to be enough, and it's clear. And they thought the defense could get them by, and it can't. And without Gardner, as much as he screwed up, he does eat 18 to 21 minutes a night. You have to replace those 20 minutes a night.
But you did say that
young guys coming up.
You thought Leafs were a better team going into this series?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought they could do it.
In what aspect, though? Are they the better team?
In the forward group, but the speed and skill.
So then isn't there some blame to put on those guys as well? Not just the defense?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was not a lot of goals where Boston earned them. It was we made a mistake, a turnover, a bad play. That Dermott goal, Gardner's bad play on the second goal. It's direct mistakes of Dermott being a young guy, not having that experience. He's not insulated enough. And then Jake Gardner just being a total buffoon.
I know, but like offensively, we couldn't provide anything.
Yeah.
We had one guy put in a goal, Tavares. Where was Matthews?
And Matthews had 5 goals in the series.
Okay, in the series. I'm talking about Game 7. Who cares what you did earlier?
Game 7 wasn't able to get it done, just like everybody else, right? So he didn't look as pissed off as I thought he should have been after the game.
Yeah.
But he's a calm guy. Morgan Riley and Mitch Marner are, to me, more guys that are going to lead that team in the dressing room. We love Austin Matthews, but I don't think he's going to be their captain. He's not a rah-rah leader. And we'll see. What is his motor like? Right? He played great from games 2 to 6. Game 7, second straight year, couldn't get much going. Even they outshot the Bruins up until that last 5 minutes pulling the goalie. They had some chances, but the story of the series was the Leafs would have plenty of scoring chances, can't put it in the net, can't capitalize. The Bruins would have way less, half, but they would capitalize on all the top-end scoring chances they get. And it's something to say with maybe the style of play, the system that Babcock has these guys playing. It's a lot more down low. And when they're coming off the rush, it's like they're absent. They can't even make a tape-to-tape pass off the rush. Give me the last time I saw the Leafs score on a 3-on-2, 3-on-1, 2-on-1. Rarely happens.
So what do you want to see change?
I want to see Kyle Dubas, Brendan Shanahan, the president, and Mike Babcock sit down and come up with some sort of plan together. It doesn't have to be just Mike Babcock's situation. I know that usually the GM and the presidents don't want to step on the coach's toes, but I want Mike Babcock at the least to go back to the way he was in Detroit. We need a veteran team.
They were talking about him being the best coach in the league.
Yeah, he was. He was regarded as that.
He can't coach himself out of freaking series.
The thing is, when you're coaching Team Canada in the Olympics, those guys are going for 30, 35-second shifts and hopping off the ice because they're scared of Mike Babcock. It's not because they want to only play 30 seconds when in the NHL they're playing 45, 50-second shifts. It's because they're scared of him. In Detroit, you would see him go on a tirade and rip somebody a new asshole. And he's never done that with the Leafs, and he's too soft. He thinks they're kids, and it's going to be a growing process. But the growing process is done. We're here, we've arrived, and this is the now. It's a time to win, and it's time to turn these boys into men. And if you're not going to treat them like they're men, then why are they going to play like that? You know what I'm saying? He's babying them. He's been
Gotta mature
coddling them,
yeah.
trying to protect them. Morgan Riley doesn't play on the penalty kill. There's talk that this guy should have been nominated for the Norris Trophy, the best defense in the league. But he doesn't let Morgan Riley play the penalty kill. He was 5th on defenseman PK time this season. Like, your PK was atrocious in the playoffs. And that guy's a skilled, quick player. And you tell me he wouldn't make a difference? He's top 5 defenseman in the league now. Doesn't play the PK. He just tries to protect them. Put them in positions that can only succeed and there's no risk.
So you want to see more him get a little bit more aggressive and rougher with these players?
Yeah, and adjust in-game. He refuses to make any in-game adjustments.
Well,
He's been too stagnant, stuck in his ways for now 3 straight years.
who knows? Maybe next year we can just see the same thing again.
If this happens again, he will not have a job
You think so?
with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right.
I
Well,
think they will discuss moving on from him this offseason, but it's not going to happen. Kyle Dubas has only been a general manager for 1 year. He's in his young 30s. He is not going to make the decision to fire
I know, I
Mike
was gonna
Babcock.
say, yeah. That's a big move to make.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Okay, but furthermore, there was another Game 7 going on last night.
Yes, sir.
I know you have a lot to say about a certain penalty.
Well, you saw the penalty.
I saw
As a
it
guy
too,
who
but
hasn't played hockey, what did you think? And we're referring to the
to me it didn't
high
look
stick
like
from Cody Eakin.
he did anything wrong there. He pushed the guy, but the guy was already on like 1 foot while as he was falling.
Yeah.
So I don't think he intended on the guy to bang his head on the
Yeah.
floor.
Joel
I
Pavelski
don't
was
see
coming out of the face-off. Yeah, you're right.
there's,
He
like,
wasn't
no
stable.
intent.
Cody Eakin goes to push off him, puts his stick right around his pecs. He stumbles into I forget who the Vegas player was.
Yeah.
Falls and hits his head. I pray Joe Pavelski's all right. Blood was actually leaking from his head through his helmet. It was
I
pretty gruesome.
was telling you, I watched whole UFC events and this first round in the NHL playoffs. I've seen worse injuries
Yeah,
than a whole event
it's
in a fighting sport.
it has been a fiery round, but Vegas was up 3-0 at that point, and close to the middle of the
Changed
third
the whole
period,
game.
13-14 minutes left. They gave a 5-minute major to Cody Eakin.
Okay,
for
so
absolutely
normally what
nothing.
would they give for that kind of hit?
2 minute for cross check. He cross checked him in
Yeah.
the chest.
Okay, so you
Okay.
just get to why was it extended? Just because of the injuries?
So what Jonathan Marchessault on Vegas said was it looked pretty bad. The refs told him, and
But
he's
it
like, so
looked
they
bad.
didn't even say that.
I feel
the
like it
result.
looked bad because of how the guy fell.
Yeah, he
He was
fell
trying
on
to
his
like
head.
turn his body and just went
Terrible.
sideways on his head.
But all Cody Eakin did was push off of
Yeah.
him with his stick. And then he falls awkwardly, his head's bleeding. 5-minute major. So that goes from being just a 2-minute power play. When San Jose scores the first goal in that power play, it's now back to even strength. To 5 minutes, San Jose scores 4 straight goals on the power
That's
play now.
crazy.
The man advantage. To go up 4-3. And still Mark Stone ties it up with 50-odd seconds left. Goes to overtime. And then Goudreau, I believe it was, dirty finish. He
Yeah.
totally fooled Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, I'll
That
give
was a
San Jose
dirty
credit,
finish.
but the refs robbed Vegas of advancing to the next round. You cannot tell me San Jose would have scored 3 goals, even strength,
If
with
they
12
didn't have
minutes
that
left.
5 minute.
Wouldn't have happened.
You think so though?
How can you say that would have? There's no chance. They had 0 goals the whole game. 12 minutes left, they would have got 3. It happens, but the odds is so slim.
That's tricky.
The
I
refs
feel like
took-
that's a nightmare for the ref to call.
Yeah, but
Because he just changed.
what I don't understand is
the
in
fate
hockey,
of a whole team
hockey and
series.
basketball, both the refs in playoffs, we don't want to decide the game. The game's totally out of hand, 3-0, and you're making that baloney call. You are now impacting the game, which the refs
I
shouldn't.
know. But okay, we say they shouldn't impact the game, but they're put into the position to make these decisions that are like crucial to the game.
No,
so
but
like
when they make over the top decisions like they did last night, they're impacting the game when they shouldn't be. Are you getting a
I
hot
was
phone
getting
call?
a call. Yeah.
Well, don't they know
Sorry.
we're recording?
Hmm?
Don't they know we're recording?
They do know. I just ended it. It's okay. Keep going. Keep going.
But what I was gonna get to is, should hockey have a review for penalties next season?
I feel
Nah.
like it's stupid that they don't.
Well, you can't have it for every penalty. What I would like to see is to implement a
Certain
system.
ones like that you have to.
Should be a system like the NBA. You can't review a common foul, but you can if it's gonna be a flagrant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or if it's a clear path. So I think the NHL needs to look at when it's going to be a major 5-minute major, that the refs have the ability to go and review the footage and see if they want to keep it as a 5 minutes or lower it, or if they want to eject the player then. And last night that would have resulted in a 2-minute penalties as opposed to a 5.
Yeah.
And this always happens in NHL where they make knee-jerk reactions. Duchesne how many of years ago, 3 years ago, has a big offside goal in the playoffs. Next season, we get offside challenges and reviews. I'm sure you'll see it. I just feel bad for Vegas, like I did for the New Orleans Saints.
Hey, I feel like the refs have the worst job on as opposed to, except for the players, they have the hardest job on that ring.
It's tough, but if you don't see it, what I don't understand.
I know, but I mean, like,
what I don't understand
the fact
is
that he got to see what happened after, I'm sure played a huge part. Like it goes into your head. You see some guy's head bleeding, cut open. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is
This guy's
4 referees
done.
on the ice. They always get together in a group to make those decisions. Why do you not get together? And how does nobody actually see what happened and see that he just pushed off his chest and then he fell awkwardly on his own head?
Is that you see something like that should have been reviewed, but
I think most
have to
hockey fans
change
are
the
going to say
rulebook.
no. They don't want reviews in hockey, but when it's moments like this, you tell me every Vegas
why
Golden
not?
Knight
Why would
player
you say no though?
slows
What's
down the
argument
game,
for no?
clogs up the game. But it's moments like this. Do
But
you want playoffs
yeah,
decided like that with
exactly,
wrong
yeah.
calls? So why do we have goal reviews? The regular season not that big of a deal, but can you imagine the playoffs? A goal doesn't go in, the ref thinks it does.
Yeah.
Game 7, Stanley Cup's awarded out. Why do they review shots in the NBA? For the same damn reason, to get the call right when it matters the most. So
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Because again, you don't want one call to change the whole aspect of a
Exactly.
game.
Ex-
Let's go. So, where do you think Sharks are going further into the playoffs?
I think the Sharks got a good chance now to go
Give
to
me
the
some,
conference finals.
Round 2 predictions.
Well, they're playing. So Dallas is playing St. Louis, and then Sharks are playing Colorado. I think the Sharks will get past Colorado. It'll end up going 6 or 7. It's gonna be a lengthy series. Colorado's top line's chugging, but they're outmatched. San Jose is one of the deepest teams. To me, San Jose and Vegas are the 2 favorites in the West.
You think so?
And it sucked that they had to match up in the first round. So I think Sharks will, they'll make the conference finals, and then between Dallas and St. Louis is gonna be Dallas. And then I think the Sharks, it's a tough call. But you know what? St. Louis has had so many times they're back against the wall. They've never wavered. All season they've been
Yeah,
playing.
but haven't
all
they lost
season-
every second round?
Yeah, but there's always that one year. Washington was the same
That
way.
one- that
The
one
Capitals
year.
lost in the second round every year. And then last
That is
year won the
true, yeah.
Stanley Cup. I think St. Louis will end up representing the West in the Stanley Cup final.
What about
over
East?
the Sharks.
Move over to the East.
Well, in the
Where's
East,
Boston going?
I think Columbus will
You
beat
get past
Boston.
Columbus?
I
You
think
think so?
Columbus will beat Boston. Just to mock the Leafs, I think Columbus is going to beat them.
Just come on.
They're a tougher team to play against than the Leafs, and they got a lot of speed and skill. When the Leafs used their speed and skill and got it in deep off the rush, it gave Boston troubles in waves. Chara and a bunch of their other players couldn't handle it. All you got to do is dump it in Zdeno Chara's corner, and go to work. He's so weak now, you'll fly right by him. Duchesne and Zingle, great acquisitions at the trade deadline. You got Artemi Panarin
But I
coming.
remember you saying the winner of the Leafs and the Boston
I had
series,
thought that, but
we're going all the
watching
way.
Boston last couple games, I just think the Leafs played weak and soft. I think Columbus can beat them.
Think
and
they
then-
beat themselves, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Leafs, yeah, a little bit. Like I said, most of the goals were miscues on their own net, around their own net, giving it on a platter to Boston.
It's a tough one to
So
watch.
then we have another Game 7 tonight, Carolina and Washington. And the winner of that will play the Islanders.
You
I
think
think Washington's
going
going to win. Then they're going to beat the Islanders. And then they're going to beat... I think they'll probably... Ooh, Columbus, Washington. I
You think Washington's going to be able to beat Islanders?
Oh, yeah. I think 100%.
Even though they beat your team?
Islanders? Yeah, Penguins look like children against men
They
out there
took
that
the
first
GOAT
round.
out of the playoffs?
They did. But the GOAT was looking like a shepherd.
And so was Ovi.
Ovi's been playing sick.
Well, let's see.
And then I call Washington will go back to the finals against St. Louis. And
And then Washington wins it?
I don't know, we'll save that. Save that take for another day.
For the finals, sure.
I don't know if... It's super hard to repeat, man. Even Chicago and
It
LA.
is, but special teams can do it.
When Chicago got their 3-6, LA got their 2-4. They were all years separated, never on back to back. Pittsburgh did 2016-17, but that's having
Yeah.
the GOAT. So I don't think Washington will go repeat. I think St. Louis will end up winning the cup this year with a rookie netminder. I don't know the last time that's been done. Cam Ward was close to being a rookie when he won with Carolina.
Should have looked up that stat.
I should have, but I don't know. I'll be predicting the whole playoffs.
Well, now you are. Okay, let's move over to the
National Basketball
the
Association.
basketball.
You want to kick off with the Raptors or the big one that
We'll
happened
leave
last night?
the Blazers game for a few minutes, but let's start with the Raptors.
What'd you see?
I saw amazingness from again
Kawhi Leonard.
my dude Marcus Gasol's.
He had 9 points.
Defense, dog. Vucevic again, 6.7 rebounds
Sick.
to the leading scorer on that team. Shot 3 for 10 from field goal.
You know who's got to be kicking themselves the most?
Who?
About Vucevic. I believe his contract's up this year, so his agent's got to be crying. This guy was
100%, bro. They finally make the freaking
This guy
playoffs, and this is what he gives us.
This guy was averaging 18 in the regular season, and now
Who, Vucevic?
yeah,
I thought he was at 20. I'm telling you, he's
I
in
don't
the big
think so.
2-0.
I think it was 18.6 or 7, and
We
then
have
what?
to
He
look
ended
this
up
up.
averaging like 8 in the playoffs.
Less,
Buddy,
probably.
you just went from like making
But because of
22
who?
mil to 12.
This is not just because he got lazy. This is not just because he's like, oh, I don't want to do it. Because in, I believe, game 4,
Yep.
he did have 22 points and 15 rebounds. So he did go off one game. But every other game was 6 points, 9 points, less than 10.
Now, Aaron Gordon's another guy who disappeared for Orlando, but there's no surprise when the guys are disappearing
You're
when
playing
they're
Toronto
playing a team
Raptors.
that
yeah.
totally outmatches them.
Who I think is going to the finals this year.
Yeah. And you know what? The Raptors did exactly what you wanted last night. I'm really happy with Kawhi Leonard. Will end up only playing 32 minutes. Rust him. Still got 27 points on 8 of 11 shooting. He only made 8 baskets. Got 27 points.
From
Phenomenal.
the 3-point line, he was 5 for 5. He shot perfect from the 3-point line.
Lethal shooter. Siakam was 3 for 5 from deep yesterday too.
That shit's crazy, man.
Kyle was 2 for 4. Danny Green was 2 for 5. Everybody played their part, and it was an easy win.
I feel like with last night's win, they actually showed, okay, it's a different team. It's not the same Raptors team that keeps going 6-7 games
It
in
was
the first round.
it was funny. Like even throughout the regular season, when they'd have a big lead, I'm like, I'll tune back in the fourth quarter. It's gonna be a close game, right?
Exactly, yeah. You just wait for it to come
Right?
back. You're
Like how you
"Fuck,
message
it's
people
too
like,
good to
oh,
be
you
true."
watched the fourth quarter, like, oh my god, it's happening. But yesterday, so as I had my championship hockey game, get to the arena 7:00. We're watching the Leafs game, and then probably 10 minutes in, I'm like, yo, let me just turn around, see what the Raptors game's doing. I look, TV's kind of crap, so I'm like, does that say 19-3? I'm like, that says 19-3.
Yeah.
Raptors are up. Okay, got it in the bag.
You didn't have to look at it.
But now they have
I'm glad though. If they struggled in that last game, that would have pissed me
You
off.
said if
'cause
they ended
this
up going
again,
6,
is
it'd
Orlando
be-
Magic.
a problem. But now they have a big boy matchup. Big
Think so?
boy matchup in the semifinals. This is where you're gonna see what the Raptors are made of.
Well,
Philly's a tough
this
team,
move?
and they
Yeah.
got tough dudes on that team.
You
Joel
do,
Embiid's
but
a big body,
I still got
and
Raptors
Jimmy Butler's
in 5.
tough.
I got Raptors in 5.
I think it's going 6.
Hmm?
And I wouldn't be
As-
surprised 7.
As we
knowing
watched the video
Raptors.
earlier, Kawhi Leonard's Ben Simmons' biggest nightmare.
Yeah,
Furthermore,
Kawhi's gonna have him on
Look at
straps if
the
he's on him.
center. Who's the best scorer on that team? Joel Embiid.
Yes.
Who's guarding Joel Embiid?
So
Who's gonna
you're-
put him on straps?
Okay,
bro?
you are in a delusional world where you think Gasol's gonna what do you think Embiid's impact is gonna be throughout this series?
Very little, less than was.
Give me some
whole
totals,
season.
rebounds, points.
I got him like 15 points, less
Ah.
than 10 rebounds.
15 points. Think he's gonna average for the series.
Yeah,
You're
about that. Maybe.
I will
less.
guarantee he's gonna be averaging about 20.
Nah, he's gonna get frustrated. I'm telling you, he's still kind of immature. He's still young in his head.
He is, but he's
gonna
a guy.
get frustrated with Gasol.
And did you
He's
see
gonna
what he was
start
doing
committing
last night?
fouls.
He was splashing
He's gonna
last
start
night from
missing
deep
some
too.
games.
Buddy, I don't know if you're watching these games.
Yeah, but who's guarding him on Brooklyn? Like,
Okay,
Give
but
me- who's
as
the
I
center on
said,
Brooklyn?
as I said the other day,
it won't even come to my head.
as I said the other day, my concern with the Gasol Embiid matchup is when Embiid backs out of the paint.
Yeah,
When
but
he- okay, so
a smart
here's the thing.
defender. He doesn't go.
What-
you don't
what-
go
what
out and
hap-
block
what
him at
happened
the
last night?
perimeter.
They gave him the space. He said, I'm not going to block Embiid in the perimeter. Bangs back-to-back trays. Okay? And then if Gasol steps out and tries to D him up, get inside of him, Embiid's way quicker, way stronger. He's going to give him one little sidestep. Bam. He's gone around him to the rack. Now somebody's got to leave their man to clog the paint. Then he's kicking it to somebody who's wide open. And it's going to create issues. The Embiid-Gasol matchup is not as easy as you think it is.
You know who else
I
is
think
a
it's
big
going
man that
to
can
be the
shoot?
X factor. Gasol?
No, Vucevic. Vucevic can shoot.
Lord.
How do you think? Cause
Vucevic is nowhere near the player that Joel Embiid is.
stats wise, he's
Joel
up there.
Embiid is top 10, top 15. Vucevic, I don't know. Is he top 30? Maybe on a good day.
Well, he did average 20.8 points this season. And
Yeah,
12 rebounds.
But it's like, remember Isaiah Thomas? How great this guy was. When
Okay,
you were
that's
when you
different,
were the
though.
single
Injuries can
when you- no,
take him out.
when you are the single primary option in a system,
Hmm.
your number's always gonna be inflated. When you are the go-to option, but as soon as you go to another team or stuff changes, you're not that same player because you're not getting every look, you're not getting every off-ball screen, every rollout, every pin down's not coming to you.
Okay, but when that happened to Orlando, like we have no one else give the ball to Vucevic, which I think is gonna end up happening to Sixers. We ain't got much to do here. Kawhi's shutting us
You
down.
think Jimmy
Danny
Butler,
Green's
Tobias
jumping
Harris
out there.
can't get stuff going on the outside?
Hey, Jimmy Butler only had 9 points last night.
Yeah, last night, and they still won. It was a smack.
Yeah, but they won because again, Simmons, Redick, and Embiid had big games.
Exactly. So how's the defensive matchups gonna play out? You want Kawhi on Ben Simmons, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then
You got Lowry on Redick.
on Redick,
You got Danny Green on Butler.
and then Siakam's on Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And
And
Gasol.
then Gasol. Bro,
I
I'm telling
like
you,
most-
defensively,
I like
that's
most those matchups.
That's strapped up right there. That whole team.
No,
There's not a single bad defender on our starting lineup.
no, that's the only one concern I'd have out of that is Lowry's ability to stay with Redick, because Redick goes east to west so much, running in and out of screens to get
He's a
open
catch and
looks,
shoot
right?
kind of guy.
So it's similar to Klay
Gotta be
Thompson,
quick,
where
yeah.
he's roaming the whole court. Lowry's got to have the fitness level to stay with him, because if he starts lacking there, then you got to put Danny Green on him, and then Lowry's got to go cover somebody bigger, and pose a whole lot of issues. Now, who do you think we need Lowry to contribute more than 10 points, and to be a offensive scoring threat to win this series?
I don't think so, no. I think the Siakam and Leonard doing their part offensively were pretty good. If Larry gives us 10 at least,
You need
the
that
rest of the team gives us 10. We're good.
just that 10 to 14.
Yeah.
Give me 8+ assists.
You know Leonard's gonna try going off for 30 every
Yeah.
game, so
And so far it looks like he's gonna get that with ease.
exactly.
And then you need Danny Green and the other guys to chip in your 10 to 12, and then you end up with 20-point wins. I don't think they'll get 20
There you
points
go.
against Philly, but
It
And-
could.
hey, it's gonna come down to at least 2 or 3 of the games are gonna come down to final 2 minutes.
Oh,
So
100%.
who can hold their composure
I
better?
still have Raptors in 5. After
Really
all
in
that.
5, eh?
In 5. I believe it's a different team, man. I'm telling you, it's not the same Raptors team. I think they can close out.
Yeah, but
now.
you're really discrediting Philadelphia, who's a better team than I think you think they are.
I think they're the starting lineup's so good that name wise that people overrate them. People are hopping on them yo,
No.
are you kidding me? They got
No, but I
3,
think
4 All-Stars on
I
there.
think where they pose a big issue is when it comes down to that fourth quarter. Any one of those guys can take those shots. Where on the Raptors, you're just looking to give it to Leonard, and then potentially Siakam or Lowry.
But the thing is,
where those guys
Raptors,
can go to anyone.
one of Raptors' best feats are Sixers' worst in
What?
depth. You know, Sixers besides that starting lineup.
Yeah,
they
but
don't
how
really
much
have
does your
going.
how much does your bench play in the playoffs? Starters
Well,
play a lot more in close
Once
games.
you start missing some shots, start getting strapped up by Danny Green, Marc Gasol. These guys.
Then you're not gonna go to your bench
because
'cause you're trailing.
You have to sit.
When you're trailing the whole game, you're chasing. That's what Mike Babcock should have done.
Bob.
Had Matthews out there the whole game, every other shift. But Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons are gonna be out there every minute. They'll end up playing close to 40 minutes.
So what do you think they win 2 games?
I think they win 2 games.
So 6.
Yeah,
Raptors and
it's
6.
going 6. I think it's going
Well,
6
we can
or
both
7.
agree Raptors aren't losing this series. It's not a big threat to them.
If they do, it's
It's embarrassing.
it's another year, another failure. Toronto sports.
I don't even.
Oh my God.
Stop watching basketball.
Now, if the Raptors lose,
If we lose with Kawhi Leonard, this is our season. I'm done
if they do
My
lose
hope
this
is gone.
series, yeah,
fully.
what would you do? Let's get into that. If we end up losing this series, there's no way to help this team. All right, so Kawhi Leonard's gone. I'm then trading Lowry.
Okay, that's you assuming Kawhi Leonard leaves because we've had a
He will leave if we
discussion
lose.
on
If
that
we lose
too.
in the second round,
in the second. Okay, yeah.
he's
I'll
gone.
agree with that. Yeah.
All right, and then you might as well trade Lowry
Yeah.
unless you really think you can get another All-Star. But if you can't win with Kawhi Leonard, No other All-Star, unless we get Kevin Durant, is going to
I
make
don't
any
feel
difference.
like Kawhi. Sorry, not Kawhi Leonard. Kyle Lowry. He's a good piece to attract some superstars. You know. He builds good relationships with whoever comes on. You know, like him and Kawhi do have a relationship, even though he was kind of bitter about the trade with DeRozan.
I think they have come a long way, and you see with the USA basketball always.
And he's not a guy that really, you know, he's a cancer in the locker room or something.
No, so. he's a good guy in the room. Yeah. Everybody says he's
So I don't know if trading Larry really helps us.
No, I mean, I would say that in terms of just start a rebuild.
Oh, yeah?
Siakam's your one piece. Unless you think
really?
you can get
you would go straight rebuild mode.
Well, what's the use? If you can't get another free agent
this season...
You built
up a guy like Siakam.
If Kawhi Leonard left, what free agent do you think would come this summer?
Maybe...
Tobias Harris? Great.
Kemba Walker? I don't know.
Kemba, what do we need him for?
You can play the two. Him and Larry can switch
Alright, then you let go of Danny Green or bring him off the bench. He's a free agent. He said multiple times he wants to stay.
Oh.
Jimmy Butler's not coming here. Klay Thompson is not coming here. Kevin Durant told us in 2013 he's not coming here. Alright, who else am I missing? Kyrie Irving is not coming to Toronto. Anthony Davis is not going to get traded to Toronto because we don't have nothing to trade for him. Nobody's coming. So if Leonard leaves, what the heck's the use of running Lowry and Siakam out there next year?
True.
Get the 3rd or 4th seed and then lose in the first, second round again?
But that could be... No, but I'm saying those two could be a factor in making one of these free agents. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll go over to Toronto. These guys look like they have a good thing going.
You might be able to get a B-class free agent. Nobody of name is going to come over to play with those two.
Of who's on free agency this year.
I just told you the biggest guys.
What's the biggest? They could be smaller.
Second tier. Kemba Walker's in your second tier. If you give me 1 sec, top 20 available free agents on ESPN.
Give me that.
On CBS Sports. Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Yeah. So you got KD, Kawhi, Kyrie, Kemba, Klay. We already decided none of these guys are coming. Kristaps is a RFA. He'll re-sign in Dallas. DeMarcus Cousins. Do you want DeMarcus Cousins? Probably get him pretty cheap.
No, we got Gasol. Fuck Cousins.
Yeah, I'd rather have Cousins, but we're playing Gasol $25 million.
He's missed already fucking this whole
Jimmy
season.
Butler, he would think that he could run this team, so I wouldn't be surprised. But he rubs me as a guy who doesn't like Canada.
And I don't know why, yeah.
You want your boy Vucevic?
Fuck.
Chris Middleton? He'd be a decent option, but why would you leave Milwaukee?
I know, especially after the year they're having. And if Toronto does somehow get eliminated, I see Milwaukee going all the way.
Then J.J. Redick, Malcolm Brogdon's not going nowhere. Al Horford probably going to stay in Boston. Marcus All, we got the option on. Julius Randle. Right? DeAndre Jordan. Boyan Bogdanovic. So going through this list, I don't see anybody coming. I don't really see guys that can help us get any better if Kawhi leaves or even maintain that level next season with Siakam and Lowry.
And now you're for sure not getting anyone come.
Yeah, no.
And now you don't really have it. Like, who do you have?
No, it doesn't matter because you're rebuilding. Retool on the fly. You have Siakam, you'll end up winning some games. You trade Lowry for some picks. You trade Gasol for some picks.
But is that like...
You trade Ibaka for some picks.
Is this the fate for the Toronto Raptors?
If they lose this series, it is. Oh, my God. If they lose in the... no matter what they do this season, if Kawhi leaves, what I'm laying out for you is a very realistic option.
If we make it to the finals, this opens up a door for a lot of people to want to come here.
Even
a lot of people think that they're the same caliber as Kawhi Leonard. They're going to be like, you know what, I can do the same shit.
Who's available that's at his caliber? KD, Kyrie, Klay Thompson.
No, but it's not even people who are. It's who thinks they are. Let's say Jimmy Butler is like, you know what? What do you mean? I've played with Leonard. I'm at his level. Oh, he went to the finals with this East team? Oh, and they eliminated us. Why not just go over there? You know, like it opens the door at least. If we
Jimmy Butler, I think, is a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want him in my locker room though.
I don't know. We'll see how he does with Philly.
Well, if they beat us, then he might end up staying there.
I don't know.
If they end up going to the conference finals, why would he leave? We would have to.
Then
we have to go to the finals.
If we go to the finals, I don't see Kawhi Leonard leaving at all. Yeah. So I don't even want to put that in my mind.
Long story short, I think if Raptors don't make the finals, they're in big trouble this off season.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It could go from a really big high to the lowest of lows within like 3 weeks. As soon as that July 1
This is
starts
the
and
most
Kawhi says,
nerve-wracking
I'm going to the
This is the most
Clippers.
nerve-wracking season of my life. Postseason.
I've just taken roll with the punches. When he's not playing, he's playing great. But let's not get too excited because I don't expect him to stay. So let's just hope when he's here, he gets us a chip. Or a finals appearance would make me very happy. And you know who will also be very happy with the finals appearance? The Portland Trailblazers, who are now on to the second round.
Would make me very happy. If I got to see Toronto against Portland in the finals.
You think they have a chance to
That'd
get by
make my
Golden
life.
State? Hold on, before we get to that, let's talk about last night. You were asleep, essentially, in bed.
My eyes were half open. I was at that point, you know, when you're kind of
That's
like,
what all the fake fans say.
you're kind of in, what's that thing? Like sleep paralysis? Where your eyes are open, you can't really move, and you're asleep. I look, I see 115, and I see the seconds. I'm like, fuck, I should see this, you know, in case something crazy happens. So I see Lillard run up the court. As soon as I see him pull back and just kind of chill in that 30-foot area, I knew it. I had a feeling in my heart. I'm like, if he hits this, I don't like this. This is gonna blow my mind. And he does, and I jumped out of bed. I went from half asleep to on my feet holding my head.
As soon as he hit that sidestep, I was like, oh no, PG. What are you doing?
Terrible defense, by the way.
But he takes a page out of Mike Babcock's post game. You see what he said? It's a bad shot. It's a bad. You want to talk about bad shots?
No bad shot.
Give me Lillard's numbers on 30-footers.
Let me tell you why
and then
it's
I'll
not
give you
a
Westbrook's
bad shot.
numbers overall, and we'll talk about bad shot.
It's so Lillard from 30 feet and beyond this series is 8 for 12,
So
amounting to 66%.
I think that's his playoffs total.
66% he is from 30 feet and above. This series, no, I'm telling you, it's this series only.
Well, I have a conflicting stat that says he's 5 for 5, but
We gotta.
I think that might be his playoff career.
Nah,
There's no way he's taking that many shots from past 30 feet in this series.
let me tell you.
12.
Last night, he took 18 three-pointers. You're telling me that he's not taking shots from the 30-foot and beyond? He took 18 three-pointers. Who's taking 18 three-pointers?
Do you know how many
Kevin
of those,
Durant, Steph Curry, maybe?
Do you know how many of those 18 he made? I'm curious.
10.
Yeah, fuck. Great night.
That's
And how many did
it's just
Russell
mind
Westbrook take? 11. And hit 4.
I don't know.
So, if Paul George wants to talk about it's a bad shot,
It was a sad game to watch, at least for Westbrook's point.
yeah. Sad game from Westbrook's point because he didn't really help his team. Paul George was cooking.
To save his team.
36 and 9. 14 of 20. 3 for 8 from deep. Decent. Jeremiah Grant even helps you out. Goes 7 of 8. 16 points. Steven Adams only had 4 rebounds as his 10 points. And Russell Westbrook, great 29 points. But when you're taking 31 shots to get those 29, as we discussed yesterday, and you're shooting 4 of 11 from deep, and you are actually a -4 on the night, and Paul George is a +6, what does that show you?
Yeah, but where was Paul George the rest of the series? Okay, he might have had a good night last night.
He probably
This
got
was
some
probably the
really
best
good
chance to win.
steroid shots in his shoulder last night.
He must have used
That helped.
making all these layups in traffic. So all these complaints about his shoulder hurting,
His big time
went out
game, he
the window
showed
that
up. Big
game.
time game gets you more adrenaline.
he did, but it didn't look like anything was slowing him down, such as
Yeah.
the shoulder. Like there's guys that try to push through that pain and stuff, and you can kind of see it, such as Enes Kanter. He was getting the rebounds, putting up second chance points.
Yeah, he had 13 and 13 last night.
Exactly. But again, what happened to his shoulder? It was 20. You can see it in his face. Like he keeps squinching. He's holding on to it. I didn't see that in Paul George.
Yeah.
So where the hell was Paul George this whole series to me?
No, that's
Why couldn't I see this Paul George for freaking 3 more games?
that is a good criticism of PG. He had a fantastic regular season up until around All-Star break.
That's why I'm telling you, I don't take that all the blame is put on Westbrook for this series.
Not a whole lot, but not all of it, but a sizable margin. Okay, this is what should happen. He gets so caught up in the I hate Damian Lillard, we have a beef, right? Sees up Damian Lillard putting up 33 shots. The difference is Damian Lillard hit 17 of them, shot 51%, shot 10 of 18, 55% from the 3-point line. And Westbrook says, "Oh, you took 33 shots, I'll take 31." But instead he only hits 11, shoots 35%. So how many wasted, empty possessions is that in the game?
It's true.
that
And a
your
lot
team
of those do turn
could have benefited from?
turnovers.
Exactly, off the rim. He took 11 3-pointers.
Mm.
3-pointers are the worst when it's a bad look because the rebound's always long, and it's easy for the team to get back in transition, and your transition defense has got to be up or you're screwed.
I don't know.
It's his decision making.
What was what happened to Steve Adams? I always hear about all these. Oh, he's the strongest guy in the NBA.
Yeah, 4 rebounds
what
last night.
happened?
That's
Yeah.
it. Disappeared.
Where the fuck?
And
where's he been
nothing
this
came
whole
out.
series?
Nothing came out saying that he's
There's
injured.
not a lot of,
nothing
you don't see a
lingering.
lot of second chance points in that team. You know, like okay, Westbrook is
Nope.
tossing these shots up, but you don't see any recover from it. It's always
and this
defensive
Cantor
rebound
must have
and
learned
boom.
something in practice of how, because
Well, he knows
was
that
getting
team.
a vast majority of the boards throughout the series,
Yeah.
and Steven Adams is ineffective.
He knows
and-
that team better than anyone.
Yeah, and I think that
He's been with them.
Steven Adams helps masks Russell Westbrook a lot of games because he's able to clean that out and get Russ a second look,
Exactly.
kick it back to PG, and they can go back at it, reset, reload. So now Houston's in a very peculiar situation we discussed yesterday.
Facing Golden State in the second round.
So
It's always gonna be rough.
yesterday you said you think if they lose, they should move on from him. You holding to that?
Move on from who?
Westbrook. Didn't you say that yesterday?
Well, I'm thinking that's the only way your mind could go, because you've added these all-stars. You've tried building a team around this one guy.
Yeah.
You've given him everything, and you're always, every year you're in the same position. You make it, first round you get eliminated, and you're back to square one. Now we're going to start again.
We
and
just
do
went
the
through all
same
those
thing.
free agents. You think any of them would be interested in going to play
I don't
in
know.
Oklahoma?
Depending
Jimmy
on
Butler, maybe because he's
who
playing a
wants to play
smaller
with Paul
market now
George.
in Philly, but still bigger than OKC. Kemba Walker would be interesting if they say you and Russ tag team at the guard. Other than that, maybe DeMarcus Cousins takes a flyer and tries to go with another super team
Maybe.
to try and win. Or
But the only that's with the free agency. But
I don't think that they don't have the.
assuming Westbrook's still on contract with them, they have
Yeah,
to trade
5
for
more
him.
years.
So, who's gonna take him? Like, what other team do you see him trading for?
No, what do you mean? I'm saying just add a third All-Star to this team, but you have to go into
Add a third all-star.
you have to go into the luxury tax, and I don't know if Oklahoma's franchise is set up or
I feel like there's
equipped
been too
to go into luxury tax.
much built around what Westbrook not being able to play with other all-stars. That I don't see a
That
lot of people
players don't
wanting to
wanna-
come, unless
But the
they
pl-
know him personally.
I've
and
seen
are
a lot
friends
of
with
players
him.
defend him. Carmelo Anthony has
But
defended
that's
him.
what. But,
PG said, I'm resigning
Yeah.
because I like playing with Russ.
but that's what I'm saying. Unless they are friends with him and they know him, I don't see a lot of them like, oh, do I want to go get to meet that team, or do I want to be part of whatever they're doing?
Well, let's see one thing. Out of all the top All-Stars,
Or we already know Kevin Durant ain't coming back.
because remember, the NBA's All-American
So-
guys, and all the top 40 go to USA basketball camps. Durant's played at USA, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker's been there, Klay Thompson, not Porzingis, Cousins has been there, Jimmy Butler's been there, not Vucevic, not Harris, don't think Middleton, don't think D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell is a UFA. I did not
Yeah.
know this. I think Brooklyn's got a good thing going, he should stay there. But he could
he is
swing
that
power
team.
in some teams.
Oh yeah.
He's a lethal killer. Right? So all those top guys we were talking about,
Well, I guess, but
they all have
the thing
experience
is
with him.
with Russell, he has the same aura. A lot of people don't want to go over and play with him, especially with how his relationship went with Lakers.
Oh, D'Angelo
Brooklyn's-
Russell.
Yeah.
I think when you're a young guy and you make one mistake and then they see that you grow, it's easier to shed that
It
image.
is, but I don't know. It didn't seem like it was just that one thing though with Lakers. It was something else.
I think you're right. I think there was a couple of added incidences, probably in
Because
the
okay,
locker
that
room,
only
and that was
affected
the
one player,
bo-
but the rest of the team
the
didn't
boiling
like him
point.
either. Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't know. I see Portland, whoever they get, Denver or San Antonio,
Yep.
they're going to wipe the floor with them. They're 100% going to the conference finals. Whether they get out of that, I don't know.
I would agree. I think San Antonio against the Trailblazers would be a tire fire for San Antonio. I think Denver with
Especially
Jamal,
shooting-wise, San Antonio doesn't
Yeah.
have much three-point shooters.
but I think Denver could at least give them a series.
Well,
Especially with Jamal
I'm
Murray.
starting to go into Denver side. I'm thinking they might be coming out of this series for sure.
Yeah, I thought San Antonio was going to
6.
win, but in each game they've won, Jamal Murray's been their X factor. He's averaged over 20 points. In the 2 losses, he's gotten like 11 and 12. Last night at, I think, 26, 27, and was putting guys on skates. He skedaddled LaMarcus Aldridge. I felt bad for Aldridge. Big boy. He can't stay with that little guy. But Murray's quickness will allow him to... He can press up against Lillard outside of the paint on the perimeter and then stick with him when he's going inside. So I think that'll be a good matchup. And for that matchup, it'll give Denver at least a fighting chance. And then if Enes Kanter is still out of that series... Jokic could potentially go to work down low against Portland.
Especially because they lost Nurkic or Enes Kanter. I don't even know who's the third string.
Doesn't matter because he's about to get exposed against Jokic.
Yeah.
That'll be easy for him.
He's good.
And then, do you think... I think they could put up a fight against Houston. Do you think there's a chance Trailblazers could do anything against Golden State?
I think that's going to be an interesting series.
6 games, Golden State
especially
will
with the way they Lillard shoots. He kind of has like a Curry-esque note to him.
He does. I was just going to say that.
It's Curry 2.0. Bad shots, as they say. But you have, every time he takes it, you have a feeling, oh, that's going in.
I think the only distinguishing factor between those two is Steph's ability to set up his own shot. His handles are a lot better, and he can create it more.
Quicker too.
Dame's got decent handles, but if he could find a way to get his shot open more, like he did last night in the 30-footer, I think that's why he has to take so many 30-footers, right? Because he's not as good creating that space.
But you know what those 30-footers reminded me of? Remember I can't remember, maybe 3 years ago?
Steph against OKC?
No, when they snubbed Damian Lillard of an All-Star.
All-Star.
And he came back right after the All-Star weekend. He played Golden State.
Yeah.
And he dropped 50, and he was shooting again from half court.
Yeah.
He could do that to them, He's not scared of whatever the Warriors are presenting to him.
I think...
The only thing I feel is going to make a big difference is supporting cast. Because Lillard's going to give you that. CJ McCollum, he didn't play that well
up and down. He had 17. Yeah. Didn't shoot too efficient. But when you have Lillard dropping 50, it's hard for your other guard to get in a rhythm because you're not looking to get the same touches, same looks. I think they'd end up scraping out 2 games against Golden State, and then Golden State would wake up and say, "What the heck are we doing, boys?"
I don't see Golden State losing to anyone, unless it's Raptors.
This is the NBA. I don't know why we talk NBA because all of it's irrelevant at the end of the day.
I know.
It would take an absolute miracle or a injury to one of Steph or Durant to even give a team a chance, and then they'd still probably beat any team.
It's fucked because when you think about it, you could place a bet at the beginning of every, let's say the beginning of this season. You can place a bet Golden State's gonna win the playoffs. He's gonna win the championship, and you wouldn't make that much money.
No, you make peas.
Exactly. That's such a problem in the NBA that it's a given.
The odds would be so bad you'd have to throw down at least $1 to $2 grand to win $100.
Exactly.
Ridiculous. All right. Any other pressing NBA?
I'm excited for round 2. That's all I can say.
Round 2. It's going to be way better than round 1, I hope. At least some close series. The Raptors and
a few
Sixers,
more Game 7s I'm hoping for.
And maybe Bucks and Celtics are going to be good. That's going to be a dogfight.
That's going to be a good series, huh?
I think Tatum and Giannis are going to go at it. Kyrie's going to have his say.
Who do you think comes out of that?
Milwaukee.
I think Boston might pull it. Maybe in 7.
You know what? I want Boston to win because I think Toronto matches up against Boston better. But I think Giannis is going to get it done. And if he does, I'm ready to... It's a discussion to be had about greatest player in the world then. Right now, I give it to KD. But if Giannis...
You give it to... Not even LeBron?
Not right now. LeBron had an off year.
He did. He got injured.
And KD's a better defender and easier for him to score at this point. LeBron's a better playmaker, but I think all around KD's better.
I've never seen anyone like KD, honestly. A guy that tall and he's quick and he can shoot from wherever the fuck he wants. You can stand right in his face.
I hate the guy, but you can't deny his talent.
Play the best defense you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's number 1. But if Giannis beats the Celtics, I think that's a conversation to be had in terms of, the greatest right now. And then, hey, if he goes and wins the conference finals, gets to a finals, and if he ends up winning a championship, if he gets one in the next 2 years, that'll be the greatest.
We'll see.
Right now. All right, folks. I think that does it for today's episode. I think it's a little bit shorter than yesterday's.
Probably a few minutes. Still been about 50.
Well, we got lots to talk about. It was a crazy night. Yeah. I'm hoping there's a lot more to come. And for Adis Kucukovic, I'm Jay Boyle. Thanks for listening to In the Mix.